Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today I am going, as you can see from the title, over Norleras Turbo. Now, this is what I meant yesterday by big meme nonsense. It's effectively going to be a chaos deck that has a combo that just Norleras is your opponent and puts him on 0 cards, and you have like 3 at the end of the combo, 2 to 3. But I want to show off this combo before we even get into the deck profile, so you can get an understanding of what we're trying to do. So for this combo, all you need is Tour Guide. So Tour Guide will resolve, and we will summon Doom Dog or Kroos from our death, or Kroos, whatever. And we will link these two into Cherubini. The Doom Dog will trigger to summon Norleras because it's mandatory. And Cherubini will send Graph to summon Seer. And then we will link them into Dagda. And then Seer will revive the Cherubini. And then we will link these two into Verte Anaconda. But we are going to special summon Norleras first by banishing Dagda and 3 of these 4 fiends. It can matter depending on how you want to use like some of the chaos monsters afterwards, but right now it doesn't matter for this demonstration. Then we will pay 2,000 life points to resolve Fusion Destiny. And then as simple as that, this is our board. We are going to pay 1,000 life points to activate Norleras, and then we are going to chain DP to destroy itself and any other thing on the field, including Norleras, if they want to imperm here. So then that will resolve every single card everywhere goes away, and then you draw a random card. Let's see what our random draw is. Oh, that's an insane random draw. And then DP will trigger to come back in the standby phase. So your opponent will have 1 card in their hand against a DPE and your 1 card. Which, if you don't know, DPE is really broken in simplified game states like this one. So this is a basic combo. This is a 1-card combo. But you can also pull this combo off if you open Norleras or a way to search it and the Dreamy or Heretic. In a very similar fashion, you will have 3 fiends, 1 light fairy, and then you can summon Norleras and DPE and do this exact same thing. But now that we got this combo out of the way, let's get into the deck profile. Now, as you can see here, there's a lot of clutter and nonsense in this deck. That's fine. This isn't a very serious deck, and it's very hard to test seriously since its entire thing is kind of a gimmick. I will say, when I do deck profiles, and I've been this way for a very long time, I will not post a deck no matter how ridiculous or hilarious it is, unless it has at least a 50% win rate in like a period of testing. So if I test it and it just can't win any games, there's no point in me showing it off unless it's like something goofy. But if it's something goofy, I normally do a quick combo. So if I want to show off a deck, I need to get at least that 50% win rate. So you guys, if you are ever inspired to play whatever X deck, you know that it can win plenty of games. It's just up to you to optimize it if you see some errors in it. This one, however, is a little different. It definitely can get to that 50% win rate because even if you ignore all the Norleras nonsense, inside of here is a actually competent deck with a bunch of rank 3 access and a bunch of like chaos boss monsters to push you through and DP to back it up. But I didn't even try to optimize this one because it's not only are we getting a ban list pretty soon that could just ban a whole bunch of cards or ban nothing. But in addition to that, I do not like this format. I actually despise Yugioh right now. So I'm not inclined to optimize this deck or even play out games I don't think I can win just because I'm not really enjoying the format. I think it's genuinely a terrible format because the only thing we are trying to do is floodgate each other out of the game, and I find it absolutely intolerable. But that being said, I still wanted to test plenty of cards, and kind of get an idea of what I want to do, if I don't have Norleras at all, or I've resolved Norleras entirely. So I'm just trying to figure out what path I exactly want to do with this. But let's get into it. 3 tour guide. This is the one that is absolutely a 1-card combo. The only way it can't be... actually, it can. I think the only way it can't be is you have to draw multiple of these pieces, because by simply playing Libic, you can eliminate drawing one of them at any given point. So you really have to just draw multiples. But Graf, Seer, and Orthros have to stay in the deck. Unless Libic is in the deck, then you can draw one of them. But 3 tour guide, best card in the deck, and probably one of the best cards ever created. If you guys don't know, I've shown off a few quick combos doing it at this point, but Tour Guide from the Underworld is one of the only cards in the game that can literally do everything. And when I say everything, I don't mean like it can summon any boss monster. I mean, resolving Tour Guide can take screenshots of your opponent's NFTs. Resolving Tour Guide can craft a diamond pickaxe. Like, you can legitimately do everything this game can possibly allow with this card. So, it's actually pretty hilarious. Now, this is the new engine that we will be getting from Battle of Chaos, which I believe the only cards not legal in here, all of them are from Battle of Chaos, so that's pretty cool. But this is Neroy, the Dreamy Heretic. So this card's pretty cool. If it's normal or special summoned, which that actually matters a lot if it's special summoned, you can add the other one, the Disciple, from your deck to your hand, and then you can change its attribute to light. That doesn't matter because it doesn't change its attribute in the graveyard. And then its other effect we will literally never use because we're not playing any other Dreamier. So effectively, it's just another tour guide. But what this tour guide does is a little interesting, because since this can work as special summoned, if it gets banished off a Chaos monster and brought back with like Leviair or Chaos Creator, that's still a live trigger. It is a Dark Fiend that searches a Light Fairy, which is very beneficial to this deck, not only for just normal Chaos monsters, but Norleras as well. And then this is your search target. It just special summons itself with another Dreamiers on the field, and it also can change its attribute, but that doesn't matter again because you only care about attribute changes in graveyard. And that's it. Like, it just special summons itself from hand while you control another Dreamier, which can include another copy of itself. And I'm playing 2 instead of 1 because this deck is about the follow-up. Because Norleras doesn't win you the game, it reduces the game to such a simplified state that basic power cards can win you, but you will have a DPE in circulation, which means the chances of you losing are very, very low. But because of that, you actually want to play a grind game, or build a deck prepared to play a grind game, because that's your win condition, is playing the grind game. So having 2 of these is actually very relevant. Even though you could put it back with stuff like Chaos Creator, it's still very relevant to have another one. And if you draw a tour guide in this is actually 3 level 4s instead of 2, so that's pretty cool. And in the BAs, Graf, Seer, Libic, Skarm. Skarm is one that if you either draw literally everything, or you just draw this, it's very nice with the Norleras combo, because then you just get another search. Yep, the Doom Dog, it searches Norleras, it has no other function in the deck. Now this is a little weird. Korobane. So as funny as this is, I've said earlier that if you don't get the Norleras combo, you're effectively like playing rank 3 Chaos with like DP as a secondary backup. You'll just go ahead and establish F0 and DPE if you can. And this plays into that more than actual any Norleras combo. But also, I needed more lights in the deck for Chaos Space, because if you use the Dreamier engine, you can set up Norleras, but that doesn't get you Norleras as well. So you actually have to draw it or Chaos Space. But to search Norleras with Chaos Space, you need a light monster. So I decided to put in some light monsters to do that. And Korobane at least makes sense. It's just a free starter, just a body on board. So if like Tour Guide or the Dreamy gets negated, you can still make a Verte. So that's kind of the idea with that. Now this one I can understand you're a little more confused on. This card hasn't been good any time this decade, or last decade, honestly. What it does, if you don't know, because this is a pretty old card, once per turn, you can banish the top card of your deck, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack until the end of the turn. That's not good. But it's the effect we're more focused on is if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard while on the field, you can target one of your banished monsters, add it to your hand. So this is a Chaos deck with Norleras. You're doing a lot of banishing. So it's very easy to like grab something back with this, and you can proactively trigger this card's effect with DPE. If your opponent tries to make a play, you can pop this in their play, and then Alchemist can grab back one of the things banished by Norleras, or etc. And it's one of those things where it's not for like the early setup like Korobane. It's actually the exact opposite, where it's set up for the grind. Alchemist is a very grindy card, like relic of old Yu-Gi-Oh! But it actually is good for the deck, but ultimately, the reason I'm playing it is because I literally could not find a light fairy better than it for this deck. And I'm not joking when I say that. There was absolutely nothing I could do. I was struggling so hard to find light fairies. I didn't want to flood my hands with Korobane, so I just decided to throw into Alchemist because I literally couldn't think of anything else. And it's definitely not the best card in this deck, but it's better than all the other choices I had previously. So, make of that what you will. And then we got 2 Meister. This is a Dark Fiend hand trap. It's actually pretty good this format as well, so I just decided, you know what, I'll play it. Then we got the Chaos Crater, 3 of them. This is one of those things where it's also a very grindy card. You not only do you need a Light and Dark engraved to summon this, but it doesn't even have its effect until another thing also gets banished. So I could see it going down in numbers in this deck, but it's one of those insane top decks from Norleras. Because, yeah, you'll have DP in circulation, but you need to get to another real threat the following turn. And this is one of those real threats the following turn. It's a 2300 body on its own. And then if it revives anything, like another Chaos monster that was summoned properly, or the Dreamy or Heretic, that's effectively game. So Chaos Crater is very good for that. Also, another Chaos monster that you can search with Chaos Space. And then Chaos Valkyria. You might say the white and black dragon, but they don't actually serve any function in this deck. They don't accomplish much of anything. Like, they're cool, but they don't really serve a function in this deck. If your idea is, like, you can make Verte with this, there's already cards in here that just make Verte. And not only do they make Verte, but they actually have a game plan after it and contribute to everything else, where the white and black dragon contribute very little to anything. Yeah, it's like free bodies, but they're free bodies that don't do much of anything. Whereas Chaos Valkyria actually contributes before, during, and after it's been played. So before, it can banish something out of your graveyard. During, it's a body. And then after, it's a light fairy in the graveyard that when it gets banished, it can just Foolish Burial any monster out of your deck. Like, it contributes all the time, whereas the baby Chaos Dragons are kind of a one-and-done thing. But also, not only do you need lights for Chaos Space, but you also need lights to Chaos Space. Or, let me rephrase that. Like, you need to have light targets to search with Chaos Space, because this deck is mostly dark. And then Chaos Valkyria is probably the best one. And then in addition, it being a light fairy that foolishes stuff when you chaos it is very nice. And then the big man himself, Sky Scorch Norleras. If you're wondering, I guess you might not know everything about this card, maybe. But the way this card is summoned is you have to remove from play 1 Light Fairy and 3 Dark Fiends. And then afterwards you can pay 1,000 life points, wipe everything, send all cards on the field and both players' hands to the graveyard, and then you draw 1 card. Very, very simple effect, and this card's very effective at it. It just wipes the duel clean, and I would argue it does it a little better than Chaos Emperor Dragon, because the thing with Chaos Emperor Dragon, the only time you want to do that is if the burn effect would literally win you the game. But with Norleras, you could do it when you're in a losing scenario or a winning scenario, and it's fine, because the problem with Chaos Emperor Dragon is that it, like, if you don't win, you create a top decking scenario where your opponent is ahead, but Norleras fixes that issue by giving you the draw first, so you're ahead in the top deck war. So that's pretty cool. And these two are kind of like, testing. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with them. Chaos Nephthys and Chaos Betrayers. So, Chaos Nephthys is a real Chaos monster, and it's actually one of the coolest Chaos monsters I think I've ever seen. Because this one can special summon itself from the hand or graveyard when a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect. And then you can just special summon it from the hand or graveyard by banishing a light or dark, so it's a Chaos monster. And then when it's special summoned, you can target 1 card on the field and 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard, banish them. So that's really cool. This has incredible synergy with DPE, if you couldn't figure that out. So not only do you pop a card with DP, but then you banish a card and then attack their graveyard with this afterwards. And the idea with both this and Chaos Betrayer is after Norleras just dumps everything, you have graveyard resources that could be pretty insane as follow-ups. And Chaos Betrayer and Chaos Nephthys, since you could just send them with Chaos Valkyria if this gets banished. So it's actually very cool. It's kind of a gimmicky, but I think it's alright for whatever this deck is, I guess. And then finally, for the Destiny Heroes, we have Celestial, and instead of Dasher, it's Plasma. Actually, because as far as Chaos Space is concerned, this is a Chaos monster. So if this gets banished by Celestial or some other means, you can put it back in Chaos. You can put it back in deck with Chaos Space and get a free draw. So it's a little more useful than Dasher, especially when you consider the fact that, like, so many monsters in this deck cannot be have like summoning conditions, so Dasher can't even special summon them. So that's pretty nice. For the spells, which is effectively the rest of the deck, is 3 Chaos Space, 3 Phantasms for the Dreamiers. All it does is search a Dreamier. It doesn't do anything else, and it's once per turn. That's it. 3 Fusion Destiny. Yeah, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! 1 Ghost Trick Shot for the Ghost Trick package. I've shown this before. Foolish Burial to send these 2. I mean, I guess it can send a BA, but it's really made for these 2. And then 1 Called by the Grave and 1 Feather Duster, because I haven't tested this deck seriously. Then finally, for the side deck, the only thing I will say is, if you're wanting to side, you actually have some good options. You can max out on Skullmeister, because it's actually a very good hand trap, but Lancia is also a very good hand trap that is a light fairy, which, like I was saying earlier, this deck really lacks the lights a lot of the time. So finding ways to add more of them is always beneficial. And that's like the more important stuff for the side deck. Then for the extra, a bunch of rank 3s, the Ghost Trick package. I would say the Ghost Trick package because, like I said with Norleras, it's all about creating a grind state where you're ahead. So if a Dreamier resolves, you want to summon F-Zero in Recurring Body, because afterwards, like, your opponent's not recovering. And which is the Ghost Trick package of Alucard, 2 Mischief, 1 F-Zero, 1 Draco Feature, and then Downward and Zeus to Zeus your opponent. For the links, for the combo, you need these 3. Cherubini, Dagda, Verte Anaconda, and one I wanted to show off is Double Bite Dragon. So if Anaconda gets banned or whatever, this is something you could fall back on instead of Verte. And what this card does is it requires 2 Link monsters to Link Summon. And then it gains attack equal to the Link monster's ratings used for its Link summon times 300. Which will be 1200 when you use Cherubini and Dagda. But its effect is it's unaffected by monster effects except Link monsters and cannot be destroyed at battle except Link monsters. So once you Norleras your opponent, this card just stays on board. So it's a 2700 beater that stays on board, which is one of the things I was talking about earlier with Norleras is if you could just simplify the game state to nothing, but you have something, you're just going to win. And this is a card that allows that if Verte gets banned. But there's also some combos in here sometimes that you establish both Verte and Double Bite Dragon. That's kind of funny. And then DP. And yeah, that's about it for the deck. Thank you all for watching. I hopefully enjoyed this video. And maybe you guys might test this a little more if you're feeling down to it. This deck's very fun. It's actually the most fun I've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! With a while. Because I really hate this format, and this deck just plays a completely different game, and I find that funny. But yeah. That's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Interflex will take your soul.